Today on Law Next, I am just back from the 13th annual CleoCon held last week in Boston, where Clio co-founder and CEO Jack Newton gave a keynote in which he laid out the company's vision for a new era of AI-driven legal work. It is one in which, as he put it, Clio becomes an intelligent legal work platform that serves not as a system of record, but as a system of action, powering lawyers through their workdays by automating much of what they need to do. It was a keynote that left some people thrilled, others shell-shocked. Perhaps most striking was that so much of what he outlined was not off in the future, but here today. The next day I sat down live with Newton for this interview, in which we recapped much of what his keynote covered. This is Bob Ambrogi, and you're listening to Law Next, the podcast that features the innovators and entrepreneurs who are driving what's next in law. Before we get to Jack Newton, please take this moment to hear from the sponsors who so generously support this podcast. Spending countless hours on repetitive, non-billable work, you need Practice Panther, the all-in-one legal practice management software trusted by tens of thousands of lawyers worldwide. Practice Panther helps firms streamline case management, automate time tracking, and reduce administrative tasks, giving you more time to focus on your clients. Try it for free today at practicepanther.com.
Deadlines don't care how many documents you need to review. BriefPoint's AutoDoc keeps you ahead of them. AutoDoc automatically generates responses to your opposing counsel's requests for documents, complete with tailored objections, baited production packages, and substantive responses citing to responsive documents by Bates numbers. All done at the rate of 2 to 10 seconds per request. No setup required. Stress less about discovery deadlines. Head to briefpoint.ai and take the pain out of your practice.
Now let's get to that interview with Jack Newton.
It's Bob Ambrogi. I am here at CleoCon 2025, where I have been doing a series of interviews, and I'm very happy now to be sitting down with the man himself, the CEO and founder of Clio, Jack Newton. Jack, how you doing?
I'm great. Good to be here. Thanks, Bob.
Good. It's a continuation of what's become an annual tradition of sitting down and having a
13 years running, you think?
13 years running. I don't think we've podcasted the first couple of years, but we certainly talked the first couple.
Okay, so it was an interview, but not a podcast.
Yeah, I think that's probably
an annual tradition I enjoy.
It would have been a podcast. I don't actually remember, because it would have been a different podcast then. But yeah, it's an annual tradition. I was actually, every year I have this discussion about who among us has been to every CleoCon. It's me and you and Lauren and a couple of others, and never quite sure who that is. But anyway, I want to talk about your keynote yesterday. I try not to editorialize too much in doing an interview with somebody, but I felt like, having been to every CleoCon so far, this is the best keynote you've ever given. I've ever seen you deliver. And I heard that from an awful lot of people who were there in the room yesterday. I don't know how you felt about it, what you thought. What was your feeling about it?
I felt great about the keynote and about the vision we articulated. And it's one we've got a lot of conviction and a lot of excitement around. And I felt very proud to play the role as the conduit for all of this incredible work that's happened at Clio over the course of the last mostly 3 months since we announced the vLex acquisition, and bringing this vision together for what the future of this intelligent legal work platform we articulated. So, and I was really thrilled to see the response in the crowd to what we articulated. Although I think we announced so much that people are still, I think, processing.
Yeah, some people came out in a little bit of a state of being dumbfounded, I think, by everything that got done during that keynote. Because
I heard people, describe it as feeling stunned.
Yeah.
Somebody told me, they loved it, but their brain, the way they put it was their brain shut down halfway through because they were so overwhelmed by everything we were talking about and the implications it would have for their firm. And excited by it, but it was just a lot to process.
Yeah, I do not think my brain shut down halfway through because I was excited by it. And honestly, and again, I don't want to make this about my impressions. I want to talk to you about it, but I felt like for years I've been coming to this conference and I've been hearing you lay out a vision of what could be. And I felt like yesterday what you were saying is we are now realizing that vision and executing on that vision tangibly you've been doing it for years, but it feels like externally we're at an inflection point right now, but it feels like the things you talked about yesterday are the manifestations of that inflection point we're at right now.
Well, I think it was, I think that's a really astute observation because it was a different style of keynote in the sense that there wasn't anything that was future facing. There wasn't anything that was ambition for what might be. It was a description of what we believe is inevitable, and then an instantiation, at least, of what we think of version 1 of what that will look like. And that is Cleo Work and this evolved version of practice management and the traditional system of record into this system of action. And the team has done just an incredible amount of work over the last year and especially over the last 3 months to bring that vision to reality. But it was so exciting to conclude that keynote with the statement that this is all shipping today. And this is not aspirational, because it could have been. The observation I made was even just a year or two ago, what I articulated in that keynote would have sounded like science fiction.
Yeah.
This would have been a lecture series on what the future of law might look like, not what it looks like today.
Yeah.
So it was really, really exciting and a huge tip of the hat to my R&D team and every other team that made this possible, because it was just so exciting to show actual working product on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard you were doing a lot of kind of last minute trying to get it just right over the last couple of days before the conference.
That's always the case. That's always the case. We're always fine tuning the keynote up until the last minute, but it's an incredible team effort to put that together. But it was a really proud moment for me to be able to deliver that. And everything about it, the environment we were in, the staging, it was just a really incredible environment to be able to deliver that message to over 5,000 people.
Yeah. Richard Sufkin just made a cameo for people who are watching this. You don't see him do that every day. So I want to dig into a little bit more about what you announced there during the keynote. But before that, I think you kind of set the stage in a couple of ways. One, talking about the inflection point we're in right now, and why this year is different than CleoCon's past. And also kind of comparing back to when you launched Clio and you were talking about the possibilities of the cloud and people were telling you you're crazy. And we are now you made the point that we are now at a similar point with AI where we're beginning to see this whole new wave of innovation built around AI. So I wonder if we can just kind of talk about that. This moment in time, where are we right now, and why is this such an inflection point?
Well, I think, number one, I quote Mark Twain all the time, and his quote about history does not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And I think what we see with AI and the cloud story is very much a rhyme. We're seeing the same kind of skepticism about AI that we saw in the cloud era. We're seeing some of the same concerns around security and ethics and adoption and what does it all mean for lawyers. But I believe in the same way that the cloud became inevitable for lawyers, AI will become inevitable for lawyers. What I also see with AI is lawyers are pulling this into their practices proactively. They understand, I think, instinctively how important this technology is and how transformative it is. And what I believe about AI is this is going to be transformative to a much greater extent than the cloud was. The cloud was transformative in terms of how technology got delivered. And it enabled some new capabilities like being able to collaborate with clients over the internet and so on. But I would consider that fairly incremental relative to the dramatic change that AI is going to and is already enabling in terms of how the practice of law gets executed and how much AI will actually be able to do the work of what a lawyer is spending time on today. And by the way, that isn't just the practice of law, it is all the other things lawyers spend time on. And as we articulated in the keynote yesterday, this idea of becoming a system of action and doing everything from calendaring for you to helping intake new clients to making business decisions on where to invest your marketing spend. These are things that AI are doing today and will do more and more of tomorrow that will dramatically change where lawyers are spending their time and more broadly where legal professionals are spending their time. And one analogy I made a CleoCon or two ago was that the transformation AI will enable for lawyers is going to be, I think, similar in some ways to the transformation that the spreadsheet had on the accounting profession. And again, entire rooms full of people, their jobs went away when the spreadsheet started automating what used to take hours and days of manual work, calculating basically a spreadsheet on a manual adding machine. Lawyers are going to see their time shift dramatically in the same way accountants saw their time shift. But what is important to note is the accountant profession didn't go away, but accountants moved further up the value chain, and where they spent their time ended up being more on strategy, more on helping clients with real problems. And in turn, they ended up getting paid more because they were delivering more value. And there's more accounts today than there were in the 1970s. And so the spreadsheet, I think, is an instructive lesson for us as we look to how legal is going to evolve with this impact of generative AI, which will be profound, but I believe ultimately very much a net positive for the profession.
Yeah. A big theme of your talk yesterday and of all of the announcements that you're making here at CleoCon is this idea of the convergence of the business of law and the practice of law. And that is driven in part by your still pending acquisition of vLex. The lawyers want us to say still pending acquisition of vLex. And, I wonder again if you could kind of talk about that, because it seems to me that there's a couple of factors at play in terms of what's making this possible right now. One is the fact that you are acquiring vLex, and vLex has this amazing collection of data, of court data, of case law data from all around the world. And so you can really incorporate those practice of law aspects of what they do. They have an amazing AI platform. Is generative AI sort of becomes the glue that makes it possible to pull that all together in a way that you've never been able to do before, right?
That's right.
Is that how you see it?
That's exactly right. And I see, the business of law and practice of law have existed in these two pretty discrete worlds and two pretty discrete worlds of software to this point.
Yeah.
And what we've been seeing increasingly from the humans using our system is that they want to do more and more of the practice of law within their business of law applications. When you're working in Clio Manage and you need to draft a new agreement for one of your clients, you maybe don't want to leave Manage to do that. Can you leverage a system that knows all the details of the client and knows what you've created for them in the past and leverage that to help streamline the process of creating a new document, for example? And what will further drive that convergence is agentic AI. And if you want agentic AI to be able to work seamlessly across the entire client lifecycle, and again, what the kind of vision we have for the future is, it's going to be agentic AI doing intake on a new client. And it's that agentic AI that might be able to do some preliminary research on their case and help you assess what the value of that case might be, what the viability of that case might be, even make a recommendation as to whether you should take that case or not. And you can see just in that example how the lines of what might have been the business of law and the practice of law start to blur pretty rapidly. Then you could determine what court is this going to be heard in, which judges might hear this case, what are the probability distributions of outcomes of this case based on all the data I might be able to pull in from what was Docket Alarm and now is Clio Docket. And again, this line between business and practice of law is starting to blur pretty heavily, all the way through the client lifecycle of actually producing your work product, collaborating with the client, getting their feedback on your work product, delivering the final work product to them, getting paid for that, getting a referral from them. Again, these are all steps of the process that may be managed and executed by a human being. Increasingly in the future, they will be managed by agentic AI, being supervised by a human being. And lawyers and legal professionals will be orchestrating AI agents that are working through this entire client lifecycle in a really seamless way. And at Clio, what we're super excited about is with vLex and the data asset that we acquired through that acquisition, through their incredible AI platform, Vincent AI, that we acquired through that acquisition, and our existing platform on the Clio side, we're really the only company in the world positioned to put these pieces together and deploy them in a way that is what we think is a completely new category of software. And again, we articulate that as the intelligent legal work platform. But that is a really exciting new world that we think shows the power that can get unlocked when you do drive convergence of the business of law and practice of law.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's so exciting about it. And I think, you did toward the end of your keynote, you did kind of a walkthrough of a day in the life of a lawyer, right? Empowered by this new technology or this new era of technology. And it was a really compelling illustration of what the possibilities are here. And again, not the possibilities, but the realities.
That's right. That's right. It is compelling. And you just feel like you've got this superpower with AI wrapped around you.
Yeah. You're hearing an interview with Clio CEO Jack Newton that I recorded live at CleoCon 2025 in Boston last week. We'll get back to it in a moment, but first, please take this opportunity to learn about the sponsors who so generously support this podcast. Practice Panther is the all-in-one law practice management platform that keeps your practice running smoothly. Store files securely, track billable hours automatically, and streamline workflows with customizable templates to reduce errors. Plus, a client portal offers real-time updates and secure document sharing, so clients stay informed without pulling you away from your work. Start your free trial today at practicepanther.com.
The $10 million call doesn't always come during business hours. Sometimes it's 10 p.m. and there's no one there to answer. Eve AI Intake is the always-on system trusted by top plaintiff firms to capture every lead, qualify every case, and make sure the biggest opportunities never slip away. Firms like Mike Morse Law are already using Eve to handle after-hours calls and keep million-dollar cases from slipping away. Visit eve.legal/intake. That's eve.legal/intake so you don't miss the next $10 million call at 10 p.m.
Welcome back to Law Next. This is Bob Ambrogi, bringing you an interview I recorded in Boston last week at the 13th annual CleoCon with Clio founder and CEO Jack Newton. Let's get back to that conversation. Again, not to try and heap too much praise on you, but I actually was talking to somebody this morning. He may have actually told you this. It's somebody you probably know, but he wasn't at the keynote, but he watched it on the plane flying in or something. And he said tears came into his eyes. Again, not because not out of love of Jack Newton, but of this realization that we really are at this moment. That's to me, in my as you know, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I feel like we are reaching this point where I can say, okay, my job here is done, and I can go do something else now. It's really exciting. It really is exciting. You talk about, again, the idea of transforming a system of action, a system of record to a system of action, and you also a big part of the launch yesterday, as you've been kind of alluding to, is the launch of this Cleo Work platform, intelligent work platform. Can you kind of talk a little bit more about
what that is exactly? And
Yeah. So the intelligent work platform is our description of what this new world of this new era of Clio looks like, where we have woven AI through every part of the application. We've introduced Manage AI, Grow AI, and Draft AI to essentially have agentic capabilities that help automate and streamline huge parts of your day. But most importantly, the heart of this new intelligent work platform is Cleo Work. And Cleo Work is where the practice of law is brought to life in Clio. This is a brand new product where we've brought together Vincent, which is vLex's world-class AI platform, as well as their document library, the billion plus document that happened to cost $1 billion.
a dollar a document.
$1 a document, docket alarm, and their other data assets into a work platform that you can get your practice of law work done. And what is notable about Cleo Work is we have surfaced Cleo Work's intelligence throughout the entire Cleo product suite. So if you're working on a matter that has documents that have been uploaded to it, for example, that we believe you can take action on, or might tell you something about the next step you should be taking in this case, or Vincent believes it can give you advice on how to argue this case, that will get surfaced in Clio Manage, and you'll be able to jump into Cleo Work to get that work done. Now, what is especially exciting about Cleo Work is, unlike standalone point solutions for AI that do not have any context about your documents or your matters or your client communications, when you're working within Cleo Work and you're interacting with Vincent, asking it questions about your case, or asking it to do things like draft a document for you or to draft a response to the client for you, Vincent is able to leverage this enormous amount of context around this matter and everything that's happened in this matter, all the documents that relate to that matter, all of the emails that relate to that matter, the tasks that have been completed and are outstanding for that matter, the text messages you've sent to and from this client. It can incorporate all of this information into its response to you. The process of creating that context, the fancy name for this in the AI circles is context engineering. But it's a really straightforward concept, which is just you're creating the context for the AI to deliver better, higher quality responses to your questions because it benefits from that context.
Yeah.
And that is really the breakthrough that Cleo Works create, which is, we believe in AI that is in an entirely new class of its own in terms of the capabilities it unlocks, thanks to having that embedded context.
Yeah.
And the fact that intelligence is able to get woven through and surfaced throughout the workflows you're executing on a day-to-day basis. And that one of the fundamental, I would say, drivers of our vision for the intelligent work platform is that you will feel like AI is this current kind of pulling you through your matters, helping you get your work done, helping you know what is the best next thing for you to do on a given matter, without you needing to think of what's the prompt I should be asking, or where should I be going to do the next thing on this matter. We'll be able to tell you and guide you.
Yeah. Cleo Work is a separate product. Yeah, separate subscription. Can you help people understand? I mean, you've talked a lot about the fact that AI is going to be permeating across all the workflows, all products, and there is also Cleo Work, there is Vincent. How do people know what they need? What do they buy? How does that kind of sort out for a small firm lawyer, say, who's looking at this array of new products and say, what do I need for my practice?
It's a good question. And basically, the easiest way to think about it is, first and foremost, Cleo Work is a new product, and you can buy Cleo Work, add it to your existing Cleo subscription. We made Cleo Work extremely accessible from a pricing perspective at $199 as its launch price.
Yep.
And that's half the price of what vLex charged for Vincent per user prior to our acquisition.
Yeah.
We are really trying to democratize access to AI. And that $199 gets you Vincent embedded within Cleo Work. It gets you the vLex library, now the Clio library, or what was the fast case library, and I don't know,
legal research.
so you have this billion of document data repository accessible to you. So you get a lot for that $199.
Yeah, it's a good price.
And then you get that AI capability surfaced for Clio Work related workflows in Grow, in Manage, and our other products included in that subscription. Now, in addition to Clio Grow, we're launching the AI add-ons for Manage, Grow, and Draft, which are all add-ons you can access on your own, on their own for a separate price. But if you want the Manage AI capabilities that used to be what we called Clio Duo, that's just an add-on to your Manage subscription. Similarly for Grow, you just add the Grow AI subscription, and similarly for Draft, you add the Draft AI subscription. And then what you get in each of those AI editions of Manage, Grow, and Draft is what we describe as these AI teammates, these agentic AIs that get work done for you while you sleep. And that's a pretty compelling value proposition.
Yeah. I'm watching the clock, and as you know, I could talk to you for an hour, and we don't have an hour.
Our time always flies by.
Time always flies by. So we'll have to do a follow-up at some point. I did want to talk quickly about Clio for Enterprise. I mean, you made there's been no secret about Clio pointing up market for some time now, moving into mid-market and looking at enterprise. You had acquired ShareDo earlier this year, and yesterday you kind of formally announced the creation of a new division within the company focused on enterprise. So maybe you could just explain a little bit about what you're doing there and why you're doing that.
Yeah, happy to elaborate on that. So as you pointed out, we've been steadily moving up market over the years and have moved into the mid-market most recently, seeing a ton of success in the mid-market. We now celebrate over 1,500 mid-market size law firms on Clio, making us the leading mid-market cloud provider in the world. And we are looking to the enterprise as our next major foray into as an expansion opportunity. And we see, from a pattern recognition perspective, what I see as a founder CEO is the same pattern that I saw in the solo small firm market and that I saw in the mid-market, which is this is a segment of the industry with many outdated on-premise solutions that are ripe for disruption, many customers that are unhappy with these products that are overly complex, old, brittle, and hard to manage, and incapable of taking advantage of the AI in the way that they want to. So I think the enterprise segment as a whole is absolutely ripe for the same kind of disruption that the solo small firm segment was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I want to bring a solution to them that works in the same way we did for these other segments. But the caveat here is this is not a natural extension of Clio's existing products.
Right.
This is really
I think we talked about this last year, actually, at this show.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a different beast.
Yeah.
It's a different beast. And
not a one size fits all.
And what our approach is very explicitly recognizing that it's a different set of needs and a different set of requirements and an entirely different approach from a product development to a customer success perspective in terms of how you deliver to the enterprise.
Yeah.
We started our investment in the enterprise with the acquisition of ShareDo earlier this year in March, which is now known as Clio Operate. But this is the cornerstone of our investment and the platform we'll be building upon. And then Vincent for the enterprise is our second major product for the enterprise. And again, Vincent was already seeing a huge amount of success with the AmLaw 200 and Fortune 500 enterprises before we acquired them. But we'll be pouring all of Clio's R&D and go-to-market energy and resources and capability into ShareDo, now Clio Operate, and into Vincent under this new banner of Clio for Enterprise. And we're making a dedicated investment in that we've already built out a team of over 200 people focused on this enterprise investment.
Yeah.
And we are hiring for hundreds more in the next couple of quarters to really bolster our investment here and as with anything we do at Clio, we're here to win, and we're gonna build a industry transforming product for the enterprise, and are making a commensurate investment in that.
Yep. One of the I was at a dinner last night, and Jenny can attest to this because she was sitting. Jenny Dingus, who head of sales, was sitting next to me when I asked. But there were several people from large law firms at the dinner, and I said, "What is the biggest obstacle Clio faces in getting into this market?" And the answer was basically inertia, and that the fact that they may have on-premises products that they've had forever, but they've customized them and they built them and they've developed them to just where they want them. And they said, one guy sitting next to me said, if I was starting a firm today, I would go with Clio, but I'm not starting a firm today. And I'm kind of stuck with what I have.
Yes.
I mean, do you see that as a challenge, getting past that inertia in a larger firm market?
I do think it's a challenge. It's an entirely different market, and there is a lot of inertia. But I think when you are on these legacy systems, there becomes a break point where the cost of staying on those systems becomes so significant that you can't endure it anymore. And for many of these systems, they're reaching 30, 40, or 50 years of age, and they are at that breaking point. The other thing you look at is, what are the catalysts that might drive change other than just becoming frustrated with the old system? And the cloud was one catalyst, and the value the cloud provides. And AI is the other major catalyst. And I think what will drive a profound amount of migration from these legacy systems to Clio over the coming decade. And look, we're patient, Bob. I mean, we spent 17 years conquering the solo small firm market. We know this isn't an overnight story, but we, over the next decade and beyond, want to position Clio as the destination of choice for these enterprise law firms that are looking for something better. And I believe that AI will be the benefit that catalyzes and drives a lot of that change.
Yeah. You closed your keynote saying, this isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of a new story. What's that new story look like?
That new story is, we wrote chapter 1 with Cleo Work and the intelligent legal work platform. And the beginning of this next story is, I would say chapter 1 of Clio's existence was the first 17 years of building on the cloud opportunity and manifesting what that cloud opportunity looked like. And chapter 2, the beginning of the next story I was alluding to, is really, what is the AI story for Clio? And what is the AI story that builds on top of that cloud story? We're not throwing that away. That's an investment that feeds into our AI story and forms the foundation for our AI story. But the next chapter for Clio is, what is possible when we bring together this incredible data asset that comes to us through the vLex acquisition, this incredible AI platform in the form of Vincent, and marry that and weave it into this incredible operating system for legal that was spent 17 years building.
Yeah.
And what does the next iteration of the intelligent legal work platform look like? And how can we take this to the next level? And in some ways, I can't even tell you what the rest of the story looks like, because it depends and is going to be enabled by the evolution that happens in the large language models, the foundational models that then themselves are advancing at this exponential rate and progressing so quickly. So
I suspect back in 2008, you had no idea that this is how the story would play out over these years.
absolutely not. I wouldn't have anticipated that AI would evolve in this way. And I won't be able to anticipate, what Clio might look like 10 years from now. But this next new chapter is going to be different in that I believe we're finally at a point where we can stop talking about the cloud, and we can stop talking about whether the cloud is safe and, security and ethics of the cloud for lawyers. And we can start talking about, okay, the cloud is table stakes. What does AI enable, and how can we transform how lawyers work with AI? And I think we're just getting started on what that story looks like. But even chapter 1 of that story with what we announced yesterday is so exciting.
Yeah.
And we're just getting started.
Yeah. I keep asking you this. Are you going to be there in 10 years?
I hope so. If I'm still having fun, I'll be here
Someday you got to retell her.
someday. I've got some gas in the tank.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I got a few years on me, so I think I'm good there. Well, Jack, thanks a lot. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on everything you guys did this year. It's a really exciting year.
Thank you. It's super exciting. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to share your own thoughts or comments, please do so by messaging me on LinkedIn or other social media, or just email me directly, ambrogi@gmail.com. If you're a fan of the Law Next, please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. The show is a production of Law Next Media. I'm your host, Bob Ambrogi. Hope you'll join us again next time for another episode of Law Next.